ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಹೊಸ ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಈ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅದು ಜಾಗದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಕುತೂಹಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಯಾಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಇದ್ರ ಹಿಂದೆ ಇರೋ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಏನು, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ ಆರ್ ಹೂ ಇಸ್ ದ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್.
On behalf of Narayana Nethralaya, it is with great honor and privilege I extend a warm and a heartfelt welcome to our Honorable Justice, Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud sir. Sir's dedication to justice and his forward-thinking approach has left an indelible mark on the nation, inspiring generations to champion equality and constitutional values. Your presence has made this day very special, sir. Thank you so much for coming, sir. And also, like how Peter was saying, I don't know whether sir is getting into CGIC or exiting the CGIC. He looks so young actually. It's so nice. Super. And it is also my great pleasure to recognize Kalpana's man whose exemplary philanthropic work has set a benchmark for selfless service, compassion. Although she couldn't join us today because of unforeseen circumstances, she has conveyed her blessings, which means a lot to us. Thank you so much for that. Today, we are unveiling Dr. Bhujang Shetty's Diabetes No More book. But before that, let's just touch upon his life journey. The story began in a very small village called Narayana. Here, the life was very slow, but the gossip flew very fast. And here lived a very small boy who called Dr. Bhujang. He was Bhujang Shetty at that point, who was actually a very naughty boy. He was always getting into trouble. Whenever he used to get into trouble, he used to run to his grandfather's house and hide there. So most of the time, he lived in his grandfather's house. So when it comes to school time, he used to sit just behind the last bench. I mean, the last branch outside the classroom. He hardly used to attend the class. He was very naughty, basically. So anyway, what happened was, one of the summer vacations, he sat in front of the temple called Narayana Temple and waited there. He used to sit there and wait there just with a shirt and a pant and a running bag on his back. And he used to wait for days together. Everyone on the street used to look at him and keep thinking, why is this boy waiting from days to weeks, and all were wondering what's wrong with this boy. So what was his idea was, one of his uncles very rarely used to buy a lorry or a truck. And every time he used to buy a truck, he used to send his truck to the hometown temple to get his blessings and then go back. So in those days, there's no phones. He wasn't communicating with his uncle. So, I mean, he had no idea whether the lorry will come in days, months, years, or never. But the boy was very optimistic with a very positive mind. He waited and waited. But finally one day, a truck came. So he was so excited. So immediately he threw his gunny bag into the lorry and jumped into it. And coincidentally, one more different uncle of his with his son, basically Bhujang Shetty's cousin, brother, was also in the truck. And they were on their way to Joe Falls. So he's super excited. Wow, I'm going to go for a nice holiday to Joe Falls, and he was all excited and packed up. But on their way, they were supposed to go to a city called Bangalore. Once they reached Bangalore, they were supposed to drop off the uncle's son, basically Bhujang Shetty's cousin brother, to the boarding school. And after they dropped him off, then they came back and they looked at this boy, Bhujang Shetty, and they thought, oh, what is this guy doing? Let's put him also into boarding school. And they put him into the boarding school. And this boy who was on his way to Joe Falls now ended up in boarding school. And for days and months, believe me, his parents also didn't know where he was, and they also wouldn't order. So that's why I think in that generation they had like 8, 9, 10 kids actually, because they used to lose one or two. So anyway, this little boy waited near the gate for many days, thinking that they will come back and take him back to the village. But no one came back. And then at that point, he didn't know one word of English. So he had to start from scratch, from grade 1, and he was older to his grade. But he started studying really well, doing well in his academics, and then he got a double promotion, not once but twice, and then he caught up with his age. Then he started doing a lot of extracurricular activities, and then he excelled in those too. He was the captain of cricket, hockey, you name the game, he was captain. Basically, at the end of it, he had a captaincy of 7. So, which was actually a record in that story. In fact, there's a book called Shetty Creates History, which is not eaten till now. And he was very focused to become a doctor, an eye doctor. But while he was in that journey from college itself, he used to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and meditate. He was very spiritually inclined. He was always saying that he needed to control what is in his mind and trying to control what is around you or around us. And he wrote a book called The Power of Love. But the best and I would say the biggest gift he's ever got in his life is his wife, Rajkumar Shetty. And there is nobody better human being than her. She's one of the best persons I've ever met in my whole life. And being here and inspiring us to do more and take this philosophy of the chairman forward. The video had one last line that said, let food be your medicine. If you really look at two ancient civilizations of human world, the Egyptians and our own the Ayurveda system of medicine. The Egyptians, it is inscribed in one of the Luxor's temples, because temples were seat of education, seat of justice those days, because that's where people used to come. The Luxor temple has a beautiful line inscribed which says that a quarter of what you eat keeps you alive, the other 3/4 keeps your doctor alive. It's such a powerful statement. And then the Ayurveda, in just after maybe around 380 or 400 BC, when you're looking at a book that talks about the food being the Purna Brahma, which means the embodied spirit of mind, body, and your gut. So, what did we lose when we became the modern doctors? Is we just forgot these issues. There are a lot of doctors, friends of mine, including myself. And if you really go back and they open a textbook of Davidson, Harrison, there is not a single good chapter there which talks about diet as a medicine. And as an MBBS intern, I used to remember when you take a history of a patient, there used to be a section called diet, and we used to write balanced diet, and this was like a type before you take the history. So it was such disregard to it. So that's why the Egyptian medicine and our medicine, the Ayurveda, which looked at us as the healers, suddenly changed from that aspect to modern medicine, where we became curers, where we only talk about giving a pill to reduce the sugar or to create a change in your blood flow. And this thought process of what a modern medicine, it's not the food which is the cause of diabetes. I think we all should take collective blame as doctors. We have not guided our people properly. And guidance of people, what they have to take, sometimes is so vague. And I used to remember as a doctor, as an intern, we used to say, cut down on sugar, that's it, you can eat whatever you want. So they would probably cut down on 1 spoon of sugar in your coffee, and then eat 1 big bowl of biryani every day. And it never came down. So I feel this book and this vision and how we led by example is probably, we need more of Dr. Vijay Shetty in each one of us. I think his spirit has to be with all of us. And every time now, first we were also skeptical when he was doing this. Now, every time I see something where I can't heal, I tell this person to start taking diet as a serious form. The ourselves have seen the benefits of it. We ourselves see what has happened. Now, every word he used to say, it vibrates in your same frequency. Earlier, it was not vibrating the same frequency as it should have been. my retina colleagues who see maybe hundreds of diabetic patients a day, I think from today you should have that vibration more due to your frequency of, along with whatever treatment you do. The biggest, this is what I told Dr. Bhujan Shetty 6-7 months before his untimely demise. Is my friend Dr. Leslie was taking an auto from Vikram Hospital to his hospital and an auto driver asked him that about, was this talking about diabetes? And he asked, the driver said, from last 22 years, ನಾನು ತುಂಬಾ diabetes ಆಗಿದೆ, overweight ಇದೆ. ಒಬ್ರು ಯಾರೊಬ್ರು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ರು ಭುಜನ್ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರು. I saw his video. 16 kg, 16 kgs I have lost. And first time, ನಾನು ಅರ್ಧ ಮಾತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. So Leslie called up and told me, see, please tell your father-in-law, the real education is when it reaches the most common person and how he can adopt it. We all talk about different therapies, but if it cannot be understood by a very common man who actually is suffering because of his diabetes, then the entire exercise is lost. So if wherever he is, I will tell him that his education of videos, his powerful messages has reached every section, every class of people.
Sir, flash. ಸರ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸರ್. ಡೌನ್ ಆಗಿ ಸರ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಡೌನ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್.
Chairperson, Dr. Narayana Nethralaya, family members of Dr. Jamshetty, all the eminent doctors, leaders, and all the distinguished guests present this morning. I thought I should begin from where Dr. Jamshetty left off, when he spoke about how much of what we are today do we owe to the environment, and how much of what we are today do we owe to our genes. We spoke about that in the context of diabetes. The New York Times today has an article titled Longevity. How much of it do we owe to our environment and how much of it do we owe to our genes? And it begins with the story of a doctor who was treating a patient who was about 80 at the Albert Institute, at the Einstein Institute in the US. And the story says that when he met this fine old lady who was about 80 years old, she was smoking a cigarette. And he said, "Ma'am, can I just request you to discontinue this habit, to take this habit off?" And she says that, "Well, I continued to smoke." And she then lived to be somewhat over 100 years of age. And then she says with a chuckle that, "Well, all the doctors who were treating me had passed away at least a decade before I decided to now become old." But this was obviously an aberration. I had this friend at the Bombay High Court who later on became Chief Justice of India, who was very fond of his pipe. And then I will tell him to get rid of this habit. He would tell me that Sir Winston Churchill smoked his pipe until he was very late into his life, I would always remind him that these are really aberrations. Now, the reason why I thought I should mention this is precisely to take off from what take off from what was said by Dr. Shetty, both in the video which he says in the book. Namely, that so much of what we are is a product of the environment, and so much of what we are consists of our genes. And as life progresses, the genes perhaps have a greater role to play than the environment in our surviving beyond a certain age, science researchers demonstrated. But the key of a good and healthy lifestyle today, though I'm not a doctor, I speak from my own readings on science, which I do very religiously. The key to leading a healthy lifestyle is to go back to the basics. There are about 8 factors that all studies have referred to as critical elements in a healthy lifestyle. Good diet, regular exercise, being mobilized, that is to say. So good diet, regular exercise, controlling stress or managing stress, strong relationships, whether it's with your spouse, your partner, with your colleagues at work, your peers, your friends.
So it's brilliant to have you here. Can we please have a small token of appreciation for sir? Thank you.
All of you. Om Sarve Santu Niralaya. May all be free from illness. Was the soul motto of our founder chairman, Dr. K. Vivanshi. In his medical profession, lasting more than 40 years, he painfully discovered that while the present and the modern healthcare system is definitely a part of many solutions, but it's also part of many problems. One of its major negative consequences is that every year in India alone, 3% of the population falls below poverty line due to healthcare expenses only. Curative healthcare is often not affordable. He also discovered that higher healthcare budget doesn't necessarily always correlate to a higher health index of the country. Therefore, in his quest to discover meaningful yet sustainable solutions to human illness, he found that food by itself could be both a cure or a curse, which led him to author the book Diabetes No More, whose launch we witnessed today. I would like to thank the Holy Soul in bringing out that every one of us can take control of our own health through our kitchens. Food must bring wellness, not illness. Health is a fundamental human need and constitutes an important determinant of social justice. Against this backdrop, there could not be a better person than a former Chief Justice of India, Dr. Justice B. White Chandrachud, to release this book which has the potential to empower one and all to take control of their own health. Dr. Justice Chandrachud's contributions to the promotion of justice in all spheres of human life are very well known, all of us. Sir, we at NN are extremely grateful to you for agreeing to our request to spare your most valuable time for launching a book that means so much to all of us. Sir, you are a role model for our country. And a book launched by your holy hands shall greatly help in propelling the theme of the book to near and far every nook and corner. I am sure you shall continue to bless us in times to come. I would also like to thank Madam Kalpana, who could not join us today due to some unforeseen circumstances at the last moment. During her every visit at NN, she has always inspired us for very valuable insights on the healthcare ecosystem as a whole. She, along with Priyanka and Mahi, are a true example of strong human will and resilience to overcome most adverse situations in life. We wish the entire family the very best in days to come.
ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್, ಸುದ್ದಿ ಖಚಿತ, ನ್ಯಾಯ ನಿಶ್ಚಿತ.